Hello and welcome to Born Complete the Stories. This podcast is all about the stories that shape us, the messy ones, the meaningful ones, and the ones we're still learning from. This is a space for honest conversations about growth, healing, identity, and becoming. A deep reminder that we do not have to have it all figured out, we can simply show up just as we are. My name is Gemma, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I just wanted to talk a little bit more into detail about my brand, how it came about, what it means to me, more of like the depth behind it. I just want to be completely real about it all, especially as first time, business owner and founder and what has like gone into it. Even doing this podcast is really scary. You're starting off, you might not have all the right equipment or the best lighting, whatever it may be. But I very quickly realized that I was not going to be able to explain the depth of my story and my experiences on a 1 minute Instagram or Facebook reel. So I really wanted to hop on this platform to be able to share my stories and allow other people to share their stories in more detail, all in hopes that it can connect to even just one person and help them feel a little less alone in what they're going through, and even hopefully help them feel a bit more empowered in a situation that they're feeling really down about. First and foremost, I grew up loving photography. I never considered doing it professionally. I just loved capturing moments, and it kind of helped me express the way that I saw the world, as cliche as that may sound, but it really did. It was a way that I expressed my art, my creativity, and how I saw things. And I just would take our, old family camera and just take some shots. And I really fell in love with doing that. And then when lockdown happened, I was like, okay, maybe I've always been very creative. Maybe I can express myself like creatively online doing something different. I just wanted to experiment. So I did a graphic design 3 month short course um, in 2020. And I mean, I don't think anyone recommends a 15-year-old doing a university course, but it wasn't even about the marks or anything. I wanted to get out there and like test the creative field. And I found that I like graphic design a lot. I enjoyed doing it, but it wasn't my entire passion. So a few years later, when I left school, um, after just following the way that social media worked, because I was always on social media, like I just felt very creative and inspired by how people could take a business and build an online presence and build a story online that people can connect to and like build that community. And I love that. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do something like this. It intrigues me. Let me give it a try. And I did. I did a 3 month short course on digital content and copywriting. And I just fell in love with it, honestly. I loved every second of it. I it like taught me so much, even just in 3 months. It taught me so much, and I was like, no, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm committing to. Okay. So from there on out, I decided to do my national certificate in advertising, which is essentially like the same thing, but more in depth, obviously. And it's an actual diploma certification. It's a 1 year course, and that's what I'm busy with right now, about to end. So I'm really excited. Again, I've enjoyed every second of it. And with that, there is a huge layer to all of it. Okay. From very, very young, I always knew that I was put here for a reason. And my parents used to tell me stories of how strangers from the store would come up to the pram and ask if they could speak to me and tell my parents that I was going to do big things. And it's just been very ingrained in my brain and like in my soul that I was put here with having to go through this cliff journey for a reason, because I was meant to take the pain, turn it into empowerment, and help people. That's honestly what my calling has been from since I can remember. I don't know, the age of like 5, 6. I just didn't know how I was going to translate that idea into like a reality, if that makes sense. And when I got more into branding and online presence, it was literally like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is this is how I can reach people and how I can connect to them. And the name Born Complete came from a lot of consideration, but I always knew that my life wasn't normal and I am not normal. I must say, I deeply appreciate the way my parents went about it because they were always very good about reminding me that my normal may look a little bit different, but it's not abnormal. And that's kind of how I chose to live my life. So I was like, okay, my normal looks a little bit different. I was born different. Maybe that's the name. But I was like, I can't do that because that doesn't actually encapsulate the depth of turning that into empowerment, if that makes sense. There's no like silver lining to that. It's just like, oh, you're born different, you know? It doesn't, that name didn't represent, that's where the whole concept of it really came about. And I rolled with it. I built my whole brand. I developed it from the ground up, and it was ready probably 6 months before I decided to launch because there was a lot of like self doubts, a lot of like backing and forthing. When you put your calling into a passion project and it means everything to you, the doubt just like floods in, and you start thinking, will it be interpreted the way I want it to be interpreted? Will it resonate with people? You know, there's so much depth to it. How do I just start? You know, I've been in the industry for 2 years, but when it comes to building my own brand, yes, you follow along with like how you would others, but it's such a different experience. Like you really start to question everything. And it took a very special friend to say to me, you've just got to start and you've got to trust yourself and put yourself out there. Whatever is meant to be will be. You can always critique things later. You can always make things better, but you can't do that if you've got nothing out there. And I just kind of dove right in the deep end, probably at the busiest time of my life. I just did. And there was a lot of uncertainty. But at the end of the day, I just decided that, you know what? I don't need this to be perfect. I need it to be real. And hence this whole podcast now as well. You know, it might not be perfect, but it's real. These are real stories, real people trying, like, having the courage to put themselves out there just to connect and help somebody going through the same situation. And I find that so, so beautiful. And yes, there are a lot of other layers and aspects to the branding and the campaigns and photography. Yes, it's a business, and it allows me to pour my creative energy and interpretation of your brand and build it into something that resonates with you, that you're proud of. But at the core of it, Born Complete Productions is here to give you a voice when you felt silenced. It's here to remind you that you're not alone. It's here to show you that there is purpose and empowerment in pain and in struggle. And not only that, but you can turn that into something that impacts other people and helps them, you know, gives them the courage to create their own impact. And I say this a lot. I know how it feels to feel misunderstood and not truly like fully heard. And in essence, I want to open that door to say it's actually okay to show up as you are. It's actually okay to admit that you're not perfect and admit that you're trying. It's okay to feel vulnerable and do it anyway. It's okay to not always have the perfect words. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to set high expectations of yourself and maybe not always achieve them. It's okay to believe in yourself and trust yourself. without you being egotistical. It is entirely okay to come back to who you are and feel that completeness and feel whole. It's okay to trust in divine guidance and not be so alone, and show up as you are, confident in yourself and okay with who you are right now. It's powerful to sit in acknowledgement of oneself, to uplift ourselves. So, in other words, instead of saying, I'm Gemma and I have a bilateral cleft palate and I've struggled my whole life and that struggle defines me and I just sit in sadness because I don't look normal, my experiences aren't normal, my life has shaped me differently. I say, I am Gemma. I am born with a bilateral cleft palate, and that has brought about a lot of journeys and experiences and hardships that have shaped who I am today. But I choose to take those experiences, to take that struggle, to learn from it, use it to empower myself in knowing that I am capable and I'm strong and I'm worthy of all good things, to believe it so that I can share my story and connect to other people going through the same thing or going through a struggle in general. And let me just end this off with one last thing. If it was not for the way that I was born or the experiences I've been through, I would not have the love in my heart that I have, the strength that I have. I would not be able to sit in front of you, be vulnerable like I am now, sit in front of others, truly understand their story to the depth that they are telling it and feeling it, resonate with them, and be able to encourage them and give them a space to make their own impact. This journey, which I will go into more depth on later on, this journey has genuinely shaped me in the best possible ways. And it has taught me that it's so beautiful to be imperfect. And it's so beautiful to allow yourself to continue learning and growing. It's so special to know that you do not fall into society's standards, but you're creating your own and you feel confident in it and you're using it to shape the world around you for the better. Oh, and there's just like so much more I wish I could say about everything. I'm a solid yapper. When I get into things, I just talk. But yeah, if this is the first time you are seeing Born Complete Productions, welcome. And if you have been following along the journey, I just wanted to say once again, thank you, because this would not be possible without you. And this brand in its entirety is all about you. If this episode resonated with you, send it to someone who might need it too. Always remember, your story matters. It was never meant to shrink, and no matter how different your circumstances are, no matter the struggle you have faced or are currently facing, you are and have always been born complete. Until next time, keep growing, keep becoming, and I'll see you in the next episode.